everyone. I'm going to begin with part 2 of the series. I'm covering for you about the changes in real estate. Some of you have been very in tune with the changes. Some of you have not. In part 2, I'm going to cover the change on the seller side for the changes we've experienced in real estate. If you missed part 1 that I put out, all I covered was the 2 rules that have been handed down from the Department of Justice and also the National Association of Realtors due to a lawsuit that happened earlier this year. Those 2 changes, just as a recap, is simply this. Offers of compensation can no longer be an MLS. Easy to handle. Number 2, you cannot show anyone without an agreement in place. Those are the 2 changes. That's the easiest way I know to tell you, and we'll take a deep dive into each one of those changes as I go through part 2, part 3, and then part 4 will be a summary. This is part 2 where I'm going to talk about the changes to the seller and what that means to you and to us in working with you. So the first part of the change will be in our listing agreements, and we'll attach a copy of the page that references this. And it is only a slight change. It's not a large change because most of this has always been done. That's what I want to preface. It's always been done. It's just you're seeing a lot of talking heads out there and a lot of fake news and a lot of negativity that's creating confusion in the marketplace. So hopefully this will set a few things straight. So the changes to our listing agreement going forwards is simply this. Underneath broker compensation, we've always had what fee we charged you, and then on page 3 or 4 of the listing agreement, it addressed how we broke down that fee and split it with the co-broker or outside agent, whichever term you want to call them, but some agent other than the listing broker. So I'm going to use an example. There are no set fees. Fees are always negotiable. My company charges 6%, and I would give 3% to the co-broker or outside broker. Okay, so now how does that get handled in the new listing agreement? It's just all in one section instead of being separated out on the pages. So now underneath broker compensation, we have a block that says broker's fee with compensation for the other broker. And it's all in the same paragraph. Now here is the one change because compensation has been removed from MLS. You can now list a house with no co-broker fees. I don't recommend it and I don't encourage it because then someone else has to come up with that and you're constantly in a negotiation game. But it is an option that is available. And if you're thinking about listing, I am more than happy to walk through the pros and cons of doing something like this. So you do have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm only going to pay you, the listing broker, and I'm not paying anybody else. That has been added into our listing agreements. And then because of the change, we now have added in a section about intermediary as well, when there is not an outside broker, which simply means it's MStagersRealtyPartners to MStagersRealtyPartners. Okay, that is the change for the sellers in the listing agreement. And I'll attach a copy of that page here just so you all can read through it and understand that language. Now, the next change that comes about because we do not have MLS co-op agents, outside agents, co-broke agents, again, whatever you want to call them, that brings the buyer to the transaction fees in MLS, our company now has it all on our website underneath broker compensation forms. So any agent out there writing an offer on one of our listings can see and have the form given to them of what we have in our listing agreement that we have agreed to pay the outside broker. We use a form called Addendum Regarding Broker's Fees, which simply goes through and says how the outside broker gets paid. So for those that we are doing co-broke fees with, we fill this out and have this form on our website available for them to go find and download and use. Then we also have a compensation agreement between brokers, which means that from broker to broker, we have an agreement, and then we have a compensation agreement between broker owner agreement as well. And then we also have an agreement where the owner will have an agreement directly with the other agent that is not the listing agent. So to summarize that and put it very simply, as a seller, you have two choices: to pay for a buyer's agent or not pay for a buyer's agent. And if you help pay for a buyer's agent, then I have an additional form that I give to an outside agent stating I am receiving this money and I am sharing this amount with you. Same as business has always been done. Now just a few more pieces of paper in our Paper Reduction Act, as I like to say. And then if you are not paying a co-broker or outside agent fee at all, then you will have to enter into an agreement directly with the outside agent that states what they're going to get paid in the negotiation. That's really the two changes that are in the listing agreement. And I am happy, if you are considering listing, to go through all of these changes with you and explain it in detail. But that's really the big 10,000-foot view of what the changes are. If I can answer questions, I'm always here. You can reach me, phone, email, social media, you name it. Happy to have a conversation.